Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint Germain family. In today's video, we're going through 5 stuff we learned from Paris Saint Germain's 1-0 defeat to Botafogo. The first thing is this, is the game before Botafogo and even the game before. We beat Inter Milan 5-0 in the UEFA Champions League final, then we beat Atletico Madrid 4-0. We were in dreamland, 9-0 in aggregate score against two of the best defensive teams in the world. And I think we as supporters, Paris Saint Germain as a club, the Paris Saint Germain players, I think we became, I don't know, there wasn't that much hunger. There wasn't that much motivation. You know, when I was coming to the Botafogo game, I was like, yo, we're going to sit here for a stat pad session. First of all, treating Botafogo as if they were like a mid-table league end team. And second of all, basically seeing the game as I already won the game. And I think that's also a positive thing why we lost the Botafogo game. We got humbled. We needed this humbling because we were in sky. That's how high the confidence was. Like, imagine winning your first Champions League final 5-0. And then the first game of this Club World Cup against the toughest group stage team that Paris Saint Germain can face, Atletico Madrid, and we beat them 4-0. The confidence that we had. You know, I was seeing Brazilian accounts making memes of Botafogo conceding 10 goals, AI videos of a wall being built in front of the goal. And, you know, we were so confident. We wanted the game and everything. We went too much into the game. And I think potentially the players as well were a bit, not nonchalant about, they were like, yeah, we're going to get the win, right? We're going to get the win. More like comfortability rather than hunger and motivation to try to win that game. So that's, I think, one of the stuff I learned from the Botafogo game. It's good that we got humbled. We got to keep our head not at the highest level possible. And we got to stay humble, as Erling Braut Haaland said. The second thing we have to look at is the lineup. The lineup is something I do want to talk about because I think it's important. In my opinion, especially after, you know, losing the game and everything, I think Luis Enrique put out not the best lineup. A thing I said on the podcast was, I genuinely believe Botafogo would be the best team in Ligue 1 apart from Paris Saint Germain. I haven't seen Marseille give us a challenge like this. Lyon, especially the physicality, the athleticism of this side. And this is a side, apart from maybe, he played Vic and Vitinha, Due, Donna, and so on. But apart from that, this is a rotated lineup that Luis Enrique would do against a mid-table team or higher up mid-table team in the league. He would not do this against the best teams. Why? Because he respects them or fears them or sees the quality in them. I think Luis Enrique, the players, the fans, everyone, you know, we just didn't rate Botafogo to the level they should have been rated. We didn't understand how difficult this game was going to be because Beraldo, that's like, he's a rotation piece. Lucas Hernandez is a rotation piece. Mayulu is a rotation piece. Warren is a rotation piece. And Goncalo is a rotation piece. And in my opinion, all of them had a bad game. Beraldo had a mistake for the goal. He could have done better. Lucas just wasn't good. Mayulu and Warren, I mean, the midfield was horrendous in this game, apart from Vitinha was trying his best. And Goncalo Ramos, second consecutive game in a row, an absolute abysmal performance. And if we take a look at all of them, because yes, maybe you would say it's a bit reactionary too quick, but you know, we've seen Beraldo, Lucas, Warren, Mayulu, Ramos for a long time. Lucas, Beraldo, the time is ticking. The time is ticking, Beraldo, because you would not have 10 million, billion unlimited chances at Paris Saint Germain. He still hasn't shown me the level that I need to be seen. I need to want to trust Beraldo, but we're playing Botafogo and Beraldo. Like, you know, Beraldo used to be the best centre-back prospect in the Brazilian league. These are the teams he used to come up against. Lucas Hernandez, ever since coming back from that ACL, different player. He's not the same player. We did previously discuss on the podcast if Lucas is someone we should look into sell. At this point, maybe. At this point, honestly, maybe. I'm seeing him do mistakes I've never seen him do. He just isn't playing with that much confidence. Obviously, I hope for both of them the performances go up, but the time is ticking. Warren Zaire-Emery, he's fortunate that he's young, which means, you know, he has a lot more to prove and there's less expectations on him than Lucas Hernandez, who is in his prime and has such a high wage. But Warren also has a high wage. And, you know, Warren, last season, mid at best. That is the nicest thing I can say about Warren Zaire-Emery last season. And even the second half of the season previously wasn't good. And now starting off Club World Cup, he had the cheeky 10-15 first minutes and then it went downhill as usual, which happens with Warren Zaire-Emery. And I wouldn't say the time is ticking for him, but Warren, come on, man. You got to be serious, man. This can't keep going on. Sini Mayulu, you know, he's a great player, great talent, coming through the ranks, game after game, showing us glimpses. But him and Warren and all other rotations, we saw Mayula's inexperience. The game became very tough and very physical. Mayula couldn't really handle it, which shows that he's still a bit away from the level, but he's someone I'm still very happy with. And Goncalo Ramos, my opinion about Goncalo is he's a good squad player to have. He got, I think, 28 GA, something like that last season for Paris Saint Germain. Was really good in very limited minutes. In the cup when players are missing, he can play that game in average league and games and so on. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if even that's enough, because if we put someone else there, even if he doesn't get the same amount of GA as Gonzalo, he will get GA because of the system, because of the players around him and so on. We do create the most chances in Europe's top 5 leagues. So if you put someone there, he will, get a close number to it. And it's not like Gonzalo's doing it crazy. Yes, he's doing it per minute very crazy because, he can come off the bench and get a goal and so on. But the issue with Ramos is when he starts the games. When he starts the games, basically 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 are basically stinkers. He's not in the team. He's not dropping into spaces like a Dembouz's false 9. And I would potentially look into selling him. I've seen some reports that say potentially him, potentially Kangi Lee could leave the club, but he's just not going to push them out. But if they maybe want to leave, we would look at that option. But yeah, that's the thoughts about the lineup. Next point I want to talk about is Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Ballon d'Or. This player is a very special player. He's a very special player. Ousmane Dembele. And what a special season has been for us. He's done so many great things, from the pressing, from the leadership, from the playmaking, from the dribbling, from the passing. But the most important thing with Ousmane Dembele's game this season, which is comparable to some best versions of players, is the decisiveness. Ousmane Dembele, I mean, he had a cheeky small record, you could say. He became the 3rd player to be decisive in both quarterfinals, both semifinals, and the final of the Champions League, including Ricardo Kaká in 07-08 and Neymar Jr. in 14-15. Versus Liverpool, a game where we won 1-0, very tough defensive, resilient performance from Paris Saint Germain away. It was Dembouz who got the goal. Versus Arsenal, another defensive resilient performance. It was Dembouz who got the goal. And then there have been some Ligue 1 games. Saint-Etienne, Dembouz got crucial goal. Stade de Rennes, both games, Dembouz got crucial goal. Dunkirk in the Coupe de France semi-final, we were down 2-0. And we were laughing because we were like, oh, it's Dunkirk. We're going to go through, right? We can't lose. But Dembele was still crucial, getting 2 goals and 1 assist. And this was a game where we struggled in. And Dembele, first of all, if he started instead of Goncalo Ramos, if he was fit, he would have had a much better performance, made the players around him better. Kvara would have more space. Dua would have more space. Dembele would drop into space. He would dribble. He would create chances and everything. But the most important and crucial thing is that decisiveness. He can give an assist, but it's mostly the goal scoring that I'm thinking about. Because Khvicha Kvaratskhelia and Desiree and Bradley Barcola, I put them like this. They have shown us goals in big games, but they've not done it consistently. Kvara's done it the best. Then it's Dua. And then lastly, it's Barcola. Both Dua and Kvara, in the Champions League final versus Aston Villa as well. But I still don't rely on them as an Ousmane Dembele. And that is not a bad thing because of just how great Ousmane Dembele is. And we saw that we missed him because in that game, we struggled versus Botafogo. But I know if Dembele was there, his leadership, his presence alone would have changed the game a bit. I'm not saying would have won the game, but Dembele would have definitely made a difference. And if there's any player in world football, not Paris Saint Germain, that can get you a goal when you need it, it's this dude right here. There's been so many times this season for Paris Saint Germain where we badly needed the goal, and Ousmane Dembele just out of nowhere manages to get a goal. It can be a tap-in, it can be a long shot, it can be a beautiful goal, it can be a solo goal, it can be a dribble goal, it can be a 1-2 goal. But Dembele will always be decisive. And I think that's something we did miss in the Botafogo game. We obviously know about Dembele's importance in this PSG team. After that 4-0 versus Atletico, a lot of people, especially non-PSG fans that are against the Ballon d'Or, Dembele, narrative stuff and so on, they were saying, oh, PSG can beat Atletico 4-0 without Dembele. How good is Dembele? Well, now we see how good Dembele is, because this is a game where we struggled and Dembele's goals would have been very important. Fourth thing is less of a PSG thing rather than a Club World Cup, the opponent thing. Look at the Brazilian teams. Palmeiras sitting first in their group. Botafogo sitting first in their group. Boca sitting third, joint. Flamengo sitting first in their group. River Plate sitting first in their group. I mean, it's more non-European teams that are sitting first in their table than it's European. You got Juve in first place. You got Bayern in first place. You got 4 South American teams and only 2 European teams sitting at the top of their table. And they have been the surprise of this campaign. I was someone that saw how people were treating the Club World Cup and the non-European teams in a very disrespectful way, and I didn't understand it because I always felt these teams are still good. Obviously, they're not at the same level, but these are still great teams that should absolutely not be underestimated. But I didn't think they would be this good. I didn't think Flamengo would beat Chelsea 3-1 with ease. I didn't think Botafogo would beat the Paris Saint Germain, the best team in the world, 1-0. Palmeiras, I mean, they don't have the toughest group, so that's less surprising. But, I mean, I think I even predicted Palmeiras to be first there. And then River Plate, and look at Inter, how it's going for them. They have been the surprise package of the season, and I love this. I absolutely love this. And this is the exact reason the Club World Cup feels like an actual World Cup. That was, for me, the biggest talking point with Junior, for example, ahead of the Club World Cup. It's for this tournament to feel like the actual World Cup. The non-European teams have to do great stuff, not just the European teams. Because if it's just the European teams that are doing great stuff, it's basically a watered-down version of the Champions League. Instead of Sturm Graz and Salzburg, you got non-European teams. But they're proving that narrative wrong. This does actually feel like the World Cup. Whether you're facing a Monterrey, an Urawa Red, a Fluminense, a Wydad, a Palmeiras, a Boca Juniors, all of these games are tough. And you have to be really good. I think South American teams are like 15 and versus 5 in their games. Like they've scored 15 goals, conceded 5 goals, sitting top of basically all of their tables. So I think it's a great thing. I think it's a really great thing. And it tells us we need to be humbled. We should not underestimate any single opponent in this tournament. Especially a side like Botafogo. I mean, they won the Copa Libertadores 1 year after. So it's some of a reality check we got in this game and all the other Club World Cup games as well. And last but not least, I just want to discuss how it feels losing. Because we don't lose that much. We don't lose that many times. And when sometimes we lose, it's less important. We lost to Nice. We lost the unbeaten streak, but we didn't lose a trophy. We didn't lose a title. We just lost a potential amazing record to be having. We lost versus Liverpool. But that defeat did not matter. We lost versus Aston Villa, but that defeat did not matter. We lost to Botafogo. This will surely make us not finish first in the group. There is a small chance we can still finish first in the group. But has this ruined our title hopes or anything? No, this will just be seen as another irrelevant defeat in the future. And if there's any point in this Club World Cup I would want to lose, it's obviously in the group stage because there are no 2 legs. That's the thing with the World Cup, Club World Cup, differently from the Champions League. It's one-legged ties all the way into the final, which means no room for mistakes. So let's take a look at the positives. We lost to Botafogo now in the group stage. But as I said, this defeat is irrelevant as long as we get the job done in the upcoming games. So we got this humbling pie now, and we got a lot of hunger and motivation. Maybe that was something that was really great for us in this Champions League campaign. All of the defeats. The defeat to Atletico. The defeat to Bayern. The defeat to Arsenal. The tough performances versus Girona and PSV. We went 2-0 down to City. Then came back. We were down versus Liverpool. Came back. Villa made it tough. We went through. Arsenal, maybe at the back, that first 20 minutes, if we want to give them anything. But we went through. Maybe all of those defeats. Maybe what makes this Paris Saint Germain side so great is a hurdle comes, we go over the hurdle, we overcome the struggle, and we come out better on the other side. Because this team, Luis Enrique said it even before the Botafogo game, this is still a team progressing. This is still a team getting better and better. Chemistry-wise, mentality-wise, hunger-wise, motivation-wise. So I'm going to finish this off with, after taking a look at everything, I didn't think we performed bad versus Botafogo. We performed basically mid. Botafogo nullified us. We didn't have a single big chance in the game. But there are some valuable excuses, such as a semi-rested squad, our best player, the best player in the world, missing the game, and then Botafogo wanting the game more than us because we're competing for the trophy, whilst Botafogo competed to beat against Paris Saint Germain. That was like a trophy for them. So we got to go into the Seattle Sounders game, put that behind us, take the information we've taken from these games, and move on into the knockout stages of the Club World Cup. That's been it from boy PSG. Hopefully, guys, have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything you learned from the Botafogo game that I did not mention. That's been it from boy PSG. And as usual, allez, bye.